CBS NEWSPATH.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap. Batted 1,000 when you check the stats. Boy, is you ready? You ain't gotta ask.
Welcome back to Just Winning. We're coming to you live once again from the Nicholson School of Communication studio. March Madness, it's in full swing. We're headed to the Sweet 16. It's been a lot to digest. Luckily, Sweet 16 doesn't start till Saturday, so we've got some time to break it all down for you. I'm so pleased today to be joined by my good friend, Almost Gamedays, the mean Sean Green. Sean, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm rarely on your show, John, because our shows are so far apart. So I'm glad I can come on a Tuesday and talk some March Madness, because I usually don't get to talk March Madness on a Thursday or Friday. So I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's a pleasure to have you. Sean, going into the Sweet 16, how's your bracket looking? And, you know, what stands out to you the most so far?
Just like everybody in my bracket is busted. I had a couple sweet spots. You know, I did pick Loyola Chicago to beat Illinois. I'm going to go to the grave with that. I'm very pleased with that. But for the most part, my bracket is pretty much busted. I still have Michigan winning it all, so we'll see how that turns out. It looks like Gonzaga's pretty much in the lead right now for that, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. You know, I could tell you, mine's probably even more busted. My national champion, Kansas, went down last night. Absolute disaster. To a Pac-12 team, which has really been the story so far. You know, we've seen 4 Pac-12 teams in the Sweet 16 right now, and everybody's really sleeping on the Pac-12 coming in. But it's absolute disaster to see my national champion go down last night.
Yeah, I was surprised. I was like, wow, I can't believe John still has a show picking Kansas to win the national title. But, you know, it is what it is. We like teams, we don't like teams, and usually it doesn't work out this time of the month. So I completely understand it, but it's just enjoyable to have March Madness this year, where we didn't have it last year. So we're just all enjoying and basking in it at this point.
Yeah, basking in it, absolutely. You know, it's so great. You know, I forgot how much I love March Madness, taking a year off from it, and now we're back, full swing March Madness. I'll tell you what surprised me most so far is Villanova, you know, making it to the Sweet 16. Everybody was on Winthrop first round. That was everybody's upset of the week. You know, they prevailed. They did it once again, and now they are in the Sweet 16. I'm very surprised with that, going against Baylor. Sean, do you give them a chance against the 1 seed Baylor Bears?
I actually do. I think they've really proven themselves this last couple games. I think I had Winthrop beating Villanova because I look at consistency going into March Madness. I just didn't think Villanova was very consistent. Now looking at it, they look like the most consistent team in the tournament. So Baylor's one of those teams you look at and you say, do they look like a number 1 team? They've certainly played like it.
At times, yeah.
Yeah, at times. But I haven't been so impressed with Baylor to basically put them in the Final Four yet. I have them in the Final Four, but I think this is high upset territory. I would not be shocked if Nova went in there and upset Baylor, especially with all the upsets we've already had. So something like that wouldn't surprise me at all this week.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, man. It's excuse me, but it's you know
okay over there, man?
It is surprising, you know, Baylor. This is a team where it's like they feel like they can get upset literally any given game. You know, they had some close calls in the Big 12 tournament. They survived, you know, and now here in the NCAA, they've had some close games, but you know what? They find ways to win. It seems like every time a team starts to make a run on them, they always answer. So if they can continue to do that, you know, I think ultimately Baylor is a team we are going to see in the Final Four.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, right? A lot of the number 1 seeds, you've already seen Illinois lose. The number 1 seeds, I think we all looked at, we're like, they're not as strong as previous years. Especially we go into it and we were already talking about potential upsets because the teams are very close in talent this year. You don't see a Duke, you don't see a Kentucky. So Baylor can make it, but again, if you're a betting man, I would not be shocked if you placed a bet on Nova to upset Baylor at this point.
Yeah, at this point, I can't do it because I've already bet against Baylor, I believe, 3 times and lost all 3 times, so I'm done betting against Baylor. But moving into the other one seeds, you mentioned this year we don't have the Blue Bloods, the Duke, and the Kentucky. How do you like Gonzaga's chances moving forward?
I'm gonna be honest. It's looking bad for the other teams when it comes to Gonzaga. I didn't pick Gonzaga because I felt like everybody and their mother's mother was picking Gonzaga, so I tried to be my own guy, pick away from the fray. But at this point, they just look so dominant. They look like a Duke or Kentucky in their prime at this point. I don't know if I see a team upsetting Gonzaga. The only time I would be able to see that is probably the national championship. We'll talk about that later in the show if I see any upsets with that. But Gonzaga just looks unbeatable and unstoppable. They're so deep. They're so consistent. I've really liked their play in the first 2 games, and I think it's only going to go up from here. They're an incredible team to watch.
So what do you think happens, when they run into Loyola? Do you think they're just too much for Loyola, or does this Loyola team keep the ball rolling?
Listen, I love Loyola more than anybody. I've been on
more
Loyola
than anybody.
For years.
So wait, are you implying you like Loyola more than Sister Jean?
I think they go hand in hand here, though, John. I think it's pretty much you don't have Loyola without Sister Jean. They're not as big of a phenomenon without Sister Jean. What I will say, I did pick Loyola to beat Illinois. So did
Sister Jean.
What?
So did Sister Jean.
Yeah, well, yes, but Sister Jean's so smart. Did you see her stats? She said, in her pre-team prayer, they shoot 50% from 3 years.
She's got 100+ years of experience praying.
She's smart.
Wins.
She knows her basketball. So I do like Loyola. Do I think they'll beat Gonzaga if they get there? No, I don't. But Gonzaga has to beat a couple other teams till they get to the Final Four. You got USC who's playing out of their minds right now. Gonzaga's got some tests, but now with Kansas out of it, it looks like an automatic Final Four bid for Gonzaga unless something crazy happens. But Loyola's playing out of their mind. I love the team. They play together. They play like a unit, and they play at 100% the entire game. That is one team you watch in March Madness, and you wouldn't think they're fun to watch. They play at 100% the entire game, and it tears their opponents down. So that's why they're so successful in a tournament like this.
Yeah, absolutely. They're playing probably them and Villanova, I think, are playing the best team basketball right now, and I think that is ultimately what wins you games, and that's why I feel like, the sky's the limit for both teams. Obviously, I think, as I mentioned before, I think Baylor is going to be too much for Villanova. Now, moving into our other region, with Michigan as the top seed, they narrowly survived against a very athletic LSU team, but they're in the same region as Alabama. Do you think we see these teams play each other in the Elite Eight, and who comes out on top?
I have Michigan winning it all. So
wow.
I kind of have to go with Michigan. I got a little nervous there. It was a very close game. So it looked like potential upset territory. Again, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. I can't have Michigan go out. This is my only saving grace in my bracket right now. Alabama, though, they played amazing yesterday. They played unreal. They're playing great basketball. Michigan and Alabama, it's a toss-up for me. We'll see if they even get there. They've got some hard tests in the Sweet 16 that it's going to test them, no doubt. So right now I'm going to stick with Michigan, but again, the surprise factor in March Madness right now is little to none. I wouldn't be shocked if, Oregon State won in the Sweet 16. So,
but Oregon State's certainly hot right now. But staying in that region, we've got Michigan versus Florida State, Alabama versus UCLA. These are 4 teams right here that are playing really, really great basketball. I feel like one of the two doesn't make it to the Elite Eight, and to me, that's Michigan. Florida State, very long athletic team like LSU, where we saw Michigan struggle a little bit. I think Florida State has what it takes to get over the top, and I think we're actually going to see Florida State versus Alabama in the Elite Eight.
Well, I feel like that's an easy pick to say. Florida State has been playing good. I think UCLA has been playing better than Florida State, if I'm being completely honest with myself. I haven't been so impressed with Florida State these past 2 games. But yeah, Michigan definitely has a hard test. Florida State is lengthy, and if we've known anything about Michigan, they do struggle against really big teams. But they're an all-around basketball team. I think Alabama will struggle against UCLA. I think they've hit their stride.
Do you think UCLA beats Alabama if you have to pick right now today?
If I had to pick right now, no. Alabama, after watching the game last night, I think Alabama is a potential Final Four candidate. I would not be shocked if they beat Michigan. but UCLA is playing really good basketball. So out of all the games in the Sweet 16, I think that would be the game that I would say could be the upset over like Florida State and Michigan. I think UCLA could get it done.
I think Alabama's pace is really just too fast for UCLA to keep up with. But it's going to be a really interesting game to watch. I think we're going to see UCLA trying to slow it down, whereas we're going to see Alabama running up teams off the floor like they do everybody. So I think that's going to be a really exciting game to watch. One of the top ones to watch this weekend, I think my top game to see is the Oregon State Loyola. You know, these are two teams that are playing their best basketball of the season right now. You know, Oregon State, my best of the week last year. You know, they needed the Pac-12 tournament run just to get in. You know, Oregon State wasn't even supposed to make the tournament to begin with, and now here they are, Sweet 16 against Loyola. Sean, who wins this game?
I really want to say Loyola. Oregon State, I'm just completely surprised by. John, you called it last week. Right now, and don't take it's so hard. I love Loyola. I'm going to go Oregon State. I really am. I think that hurts.
I think this is the toughest game next week to call.
It's a toss-up because they're both playing. Like you were talking about Villanova. I think you put Villanova, Loyola, Oregon State, they're playing some of their best basketball of the year. Oregon State looks so tough on offense. Like, they just look like they have 5 scorers on the floor at all times. Right now, they're playing about the same basketball. I think Loyola's beat, of course, harder competition. But right now, I'd have to go Oregon State. But I'm pushing for I want Loyola to win. I do want them to win. But we'll see. There's so many days ahead. You know, who knows what can happen.
All right, perfect. And then, you know, sort of under the radar game for you right now, we've got Houston versus Syracuse. Syracuse, a team that looks like they found their stride at the right time too, but Houston may be the best defensive team in the country. Who's taking that one?
I'm going to go Houston here.
Houston is very under the radar right now for a 2 seed.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Their defense is what makes that team. You're not talking about Houston's offense. Houston's offense comes from their defense. I think if I'm Houston right now, I'm saying if we shut Buddy Boeheim down, we win the game. I think teams now see it. I think that's been the problem in the first 2 games against Syracuse. You didn't shut Buddy Boeheim down. You're putting one defender on him, and he's pulling up 6'6" right in your face. So
yeah.
I would have, if I'm Houston, I'm doubling him the entire game, and I think you win the game easy if you do that.
Personally, I'm going on the other side. I'm going Syracuse. I think, you know, they're a team that's got as much talent as anybody in the country that now finally it's like they've had all regular season, they figured it out, they're playing their best basketball, they've got the talent. Syracuse advances to the Elite Eight. Last game I want you to call before we take a break real quick. Oral Roberts, our other Cinderella, versus Arkansas, the Razorbacks who have been all over the place. Who wins that game?
I don't care what I think. I don't care what the stats say. I would be permissed if I didn't pick Oral Roberts to upset Arkansas. I don't care what people tell me. I don't care if it looks like Arkansas is the clear-cut favorite. I'm going Oral Roberts. I want them making it to the Final Four. That'd be the most amazing thing to come out of this tournament is if a 15 seed made it to the Final Four. I'm going Oral Roberts.
That would be absolutely amazing. I didn't even know Oral Roberts was a college before this week. So I certainly hope to see it. I have to pick Arkansas though. I'm an SEC guy. In this Arkansas team, you know, when they're on, they're as good as anybody in the country. The problem is they're inconsistent. You don't know which Arkansas team is going to show up. They're a team that can beat anybody. They're a team that can lose to anybody. I think this Saturday, they're going to be on. They're going to knock out Oral Roberts. Their great run is going to come to the end. And so is this segment. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, we will get into our Beast, Bust, and Best of the Week.
Here's the story of a show creator who was gearing up to form a bigger crew.
One's a California guy,
a god of graphics.
One hosted Girls on Deck.
It's a story of a 4-year nightmare, which is finally coming to an end. Thank God.
And the new kid, a Packers lover.
Tampa forever.
So then one day all these people work together to face a year unlike one that's ever been. And his group rebranded in Orlando. That's the way we all became HTFN. 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 That's the way we became.
Welcome back to your favorite segment, the Beast, Bust, and Best of the Week. Sean, so much has happened in the sports world in this past week. There's so much to choose from. I think this is our best Beast, Bust, and Best of the Week so far. With that, Sean, who is your Beast of the Week?
Yeah, I'm going to go USC. I know Robert Husby is probably happy with me picking them. They've had a good start to the tournament, beating Drake, who a lot of people assumed Drake was going to upset USC. That was one of the hot upset picks to start the tournament. Then Kansas, who a lot of people have upsetting Gonzaga, they killed Kansas. It wasn't even close. It was one of the most unenjoyable games to watch. USC just pounded the rock inside and pretty much dunked on them every other play. So I really like what USC is doing. When we're talking about potential upsets for Gonzaga and potential mismatch opportunities, I think USC posed the biggest threat to Gonzaga to make it to the Final Four. Do I think they'll beat Gonzaga? No. But USC has to get past Oregon. But if they get past Oregon, I think that could be potential upset territory for Gonzaga because USC is a big mismatch problem. They're big inside. They've got shooters on the wings. I think USC's had one of the best tournament runs so far, beating Kansas. I really like them. They're my Beast of the Week.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I'm going in a different direction. I'm going with the guy we touched on earlier, Buddy Buckets Boeheim, the coach's son. He was the ball boy for Syracuse as a kid, and now he's their MVP in the tournament. Really the MVP of the whole tournament so far. You know, last game, 6 for 13 for 25 points, led them to Sweet 16. Buddy Buckets, my Beast of the Week.
There's literally, he is an NBA prospect. I don't care, whatever way you put it. 6'6", can shoot over anybody. Nice stroke, clean stroke. He's an NBA prospect, and I don't think he'll come out this year. Obviously, he's playing with his dad. I think he wants one more year, but when he does, he's going to be a great NBA player.
Yeah, and I mean, if he can keep shooting like this, he's a shooter who is hot at the right time, and that is everything you want as a Beast of the Week. Sean, who is your Bust of the Week?
Yeah, my bust is just the Big Ten in general. Dog water, they're terrible. Shouldn't be able to even play basketball in the tournament. You should have put Michigan in and shouldn't put any of the rest in. You should have put UCF basketball in. That's how bad the Big Ten have played. It's just despicable. You come into the tournament, 8 out of your 9 teams lose. Wouldn't even be surprised now I pick Michigan losing because it's just that bad. When you're talking about the Pac-12 being better than the Big, it's just crazy. So yeah, my hardcore, no questions asked bust is the Big Ten.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I think that's really the story of the whole tournament so far is how overrated we had the Big Ten and how underrated we had the Pac-12. You know, the Big Ten, they had several teams in the tournament, several good teams. I even said going into this tournament, I said the national championship is going to be a team from either the Big 12 or the Big Ten. And boy, do I look wrong right now. The Big Ten, huge bust. I could see Michigan going home this weekend. So Big Ten, absolute bust of the week.
Big bust.
Do you think, you know, are we wrong to put the whole conference in a box? We do this so much in college sports. Or do you think it's fair?
I think it's 100% fair. When you have 9 teams in the tournament and almost every single one of them has lost in the first couple rounds, that's embarrassing.
Yeah,
that's an embarrassment.
9. I would say 8 out of 9 is a trend.
Yeah, like you still have, like I get Houston is high up there, but like Houston's still in it, right? You have teams from other conferences that have multiple teams still in it. Oral Roberts is still in the tournament. And you're telling me you couldn't have 2, 3 out of 9 still in the tournament in the like Sweet 16? I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Even just 2. So they really need to consider something. I don't know what you do when you're this bad. It just is a bad look on the Big Ten in general. If Michigan loses this week, it's not going to look good. When your number 1 seed goes out in the Sweet 16 and all of your other teams go out in the round of 64 and round of 32, it's just ridiculous. Yeah. So, yeah, they really need to do some soul searching in the Big Ten basketball world.
Yeah, I mean, I never know how much I really buy into rooting for conferences and all of that, but I will say, when you're supposed to be the best conference in college basketball by a lot of people's standards, and your teams are doing this bad in the tournament, it's absurd.
Like, think about Ohio State. Everybody, and I mean everybody. There was a lot of people picking them to win the whole tournament. They
I
love Ohio
was
State.
well. I was up there.
100%. Luke Garza. Like,
Yeah.
these teams were preseason favorites, and then you go in and you lose to Oral Roberts. Like, we can say, great, Oral Roberts beat Florida, but nobody really loved Florida. Florida was one of those
I
teams.
didn't love Ohio State, but I did have them going far just because I didn't really love anybody in their region.
Yeah, but you can't lose to like in the first round to Oral Roberts as a 2 seed. Like, you just that can't happen.
And when when it's
conference.
more than one of your top teams, when it's a trend like this, I agree. The Big Ten bust of the week. My bust of the week, I'm going with what is it? Oh, yeah, I'm going with the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears, everybody wanted them to bring in Deshaun Watson. They got their fans' hopes up. They're going to get Deshaun Watson or Russell Wilson, and that was finally going to turn the Bears around. What do? They go and get none other than Andy Dalton. Okay, that's like expecting steak and getting a soup, okay? So Chicago Bears, they are my bust of the week.
It's a great bust, John. It's great. It's amazing. Chicago, again, what can I say about the Bears? They're always fun to talk about because they're just so bad. It's honestly comical at this point. I thought you were going to get Russell Wilson for about 4 hours, and then you go to Andy Dalton. So congrats to the Bears. Have a good season. Your number one receiver wants to leave, and your whole team is bad except your defense. So congratulations.
Yeah. And hey, as a Packers guy, I'm all for it.
I bet you are. I bet you are.
Sean, who is your best of the week?
It's Oral Roberts. You beat a team like Ohio State and a team like Florida, two of the top programs in the country in most sports. It's amazing. Again, like John said earlier in the show, nobody, if anybody said, oh, do you know Oral Roberts? Nobody would have told you, yeah, 100% I know who those are. It's amazing to see what they've done. Hopefully it continues. We'll see how long the Cinderella can last, but it's so amazing to see in a tournament like this, to see, everybody get a shot, unlike the college football playoff.
Yeah, shot at the college football playoff there. Yeah, like I said, I didn't know Oral Roberts was a college. Now, what do? They go in, they beat Ohio State, they beat Florida, two great basketball programs. So now, I think Oral Roberts, they're that Cinderella team that the whole country's getting behind, and I certainly can't wait to see how far they can take it.
100%.
My best of the week, I'm going with Loyola Chicago. It's so great to see Sister Jean still up there, beautiful as ever. She's attending the games. Everybody's wearing a mask for her, of course. And you know what? This team, for Lent, they're giving up losing this year. Loyola Chicago in the Sweet 16. I think they can make it back to the Final Four. I'm riding Loyola Chicago all the way.
That was a good. I don't even know what you call that. That was great, John. That was a great. Yeah, I think everybody wants to see Loyola Chicago win. What a fun team to watch. Like, it's amazing. You never forget Loyola. Like, just like Oral Roberts will never forget Oral Roberts, we'll never forget Loyola Chicago when it comes to basketball.
How could you when you've got a figure like Sister Jean endorsing the team? This lady, she's the face of this team, and rightfully so.
It's amazing. We'll see what they can do.
I hope they win the national championship, and I hope when they do, they're able to prop up her wheelchair and let her cut down the nets for this team.
How would you get her up close to the net? Like, would you put her on one of those like gurney things? Or
I think it would be one of those like scaffolding things where you put it on and then you press the button and it raises her up there, and then she cuts down the net.
Gonzaga should just forfeit. We need to see. I
don't think they have to forfeit. I think with Sister Jean's connection to God, they will beat Gonzaga regardless of a Gonzaga forfeit.
We'll see. They got to win some games first. We'll see. But wow, that would be amazing. Like, that would be my show. We would just talk about Loyola Chicago. I wouldn't
absolutely,
talk about
man.
anything else.
I hope you have me on to do it.
100%.
Sean, getting into later in this week, I'm coming on your show to talk a little NBA trade deadline. Just give fans a little preview. What are you expecting to see in the NBA trade?
Yeah, I have to bring you on because Aaron Gordon's probably going to get traded. That's the rumor. So 2 Magic fans here. Mr. Whitley's going to come on the show, and we're going to have a great show on Thursday and Friday talking a little bit of the NBA free agency or trade deadline. So tune in. Thank you for the plug, John. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You know, I'm a longtime Magic guy myself, and it's so interesting to see the Magic as the center point of the talk for NBA trade deadline. You know, the Aaron Gordon trade, it seems like it's been a long time coming. I think I've heard it every year for a few years now, and it looks like this is the year he's finally going to get moved. And, you know, I certainly appreciate everything he's done for the organization. And, you know, hopefully by the time we do your show Thursday, we have a better idea of where he's going.
Yeah, I hope so too. I think it's best for him and the Magic. He hasn't improved or developed the way the Magic have wanted. The Magic assumed he was going to be more of like a Paul George by now in his career. He's still young and he still can, but there just hasn't been as much development as the Magic have wanted. And there's some other players that are still on that trade deadline rumor mill that could potentially be moved, but we're Magic fans. Aaron Gordon's the number one player centered around this NBA trade deadline. So we'll see. It should be a good show if he does get traded.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, other guys we could see moved: Kyle Lowry, Victor Oladipo. Shaw, who's the guy other than Aaron Gordon you think is most likely to get moved?
Probably Malcolm Brogdon. I really think Indiana could potentially move on. Do I think they make a move? No, because if we all know, the NBA trade deadline is known for teams saying, oh, I want to move this guy, but not move anybody. So there's all this fun talk for the week, and then nothing happens. Another name is probably DeMar DeRozan. The Spurs have never liked him. It's been like they've talked so much crap behind the scenes about DeMar DeRozan that it just seems inevitable that they deal him. But again, most of these trades will not happen. I think the one that we are almost for sure seeing happening is Aaron Gordon is not going to be on the Magic after Thursday.
Yeah, I would agree. I think that's for sure. You know, I can't wait to get into all of that, you know, in a deeper dive later this week where, you know, hopefully we'll have some more answers for you. That's all the time we have for today. Please tune in next week. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe so you never miss an episode. I hope you all have a great week.
Things gon' change when I really hit the field. Undefeated champs, man, you know what's the deal. Tryna find a kid, I'm in the field doing drills. Boy, you just a sucker, you ain't never keep it real. 3 rings in my hand, I'm a warrior to the max. When I hang it up, they gon' have to give me plaques. Step up in the building and I only bring the facts. When I make a highlight, they gon' replay, run it back. Okay, always locked in, now I don't got time to lax. Saying he the best, he could take a lap.